Star is not in Menjola, Marikina, or Manila, or the Philippines. That is in the United States. Okay, yan po ay in Brooklyn, New York, where they had in New York City, Jersey, where they had torrential rains, unexpected floodings. So please be reminded, oh, by the way, clean your gutters, etc., etc. On the top of the Philippine Star front page, Soto to talk to Duterte over Senate probe. That's a story that was picked up from our interview with Senate President Vicente Tito Soto, and for the main headline, no 3-week hard lockdown, according to Malacanang, because it seems that news have been actually the Octa Research Group, based on their data, was saying it might be necessary. But we'll go to the story later. Smaller story, Rodi may run minus running mate. Kahit wala daw kasabay na tatakbong presidential candidate, President Duterte will run for Vice President according to his trusted ally, Senator Bongo. And on the bottom of that story, if we can go down to the lower half of the Philippine Star, Go refutes unethical behavior claims. Ayun po, no? Kasi some of the senators have raised issue with Senator Go regarding his unusually close relationship with the President and Malacanang, where he almost is continually present there more than he is in the Senate, I suppose. Okay, Concepcion ICE pilot testing of vacuna bubble. All regions now have Delta variant. Casino investors bullish on Boracay. And ayun po, no, yung Coast Guard, the Philippine Coast Guard, cutter Munro in the foreground with Philippine Coast Guard BFAR ships, including BRP Gabriela, during a joint maritime exercise in the waters of Subic Bay. Ayan, kumbaga, nagpapakitang gilas yung Philippine Coast Guard na meron na silang magagarang barko. Let's go to the stories behind the headline. Okay, before we go, here we go. Malacanang ruled out the proposal of implementing a 3-week hard lockdown in COVID-19 hotspots. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said this may increase the number of people who are getting hungry. This call came after the country recorded a record high 22,000 new cases last Monday. As of yesterday, it was 16,621. So it's remained at a relative high. Meanwhile, Senate President Tito Soto plans to talk to President Rodrigo Duterte to iron out issues between him and the Senate. Soto told us yesterday that he will clear the air after Duterte criticized them for investigating the government's procurement of alleged overpriced COVID-19 supplies. And Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship Joey Concepcion targets pilot testing of the proposed vaccine bubble. Concepcion said this can be implemented in a Metro Manila LGU with high vaccination. The Health Department and the World Health Organization previously rejected this proposal due to low vaccine coverage in the country. Ayan po, no? Chances are that Metro Manila LGU will probably be either San Juan, which has claimed that they have herd immunity, or I think they've covered their citizens, vaccinated their citizens, or maybe Quezon City. Kasi yung Quezon City naman, they are so proactive that they have a very good coverage for vaccination. Plus, they have a very effective, thorough system of implementing control. So, those two city, San Juan and Quezon City, has the perfect environment kasi doon po they have lots of what you call it, restaurants, public mga outlets, and high rate of vaccination. If that is the requirement, those are our candidates. Anyway, the quote of the day comes from the book of Matthew in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 19. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Ngayon, bago niyo po sabihin, nako, magpapastor na yata si Kuya Cito. Medyo long shot ng konti, no? Hindi naman long shot, medyo parang skyhook from the key, no? Pero ika nga sa basketball. But kasi today po, later in the day, we will be interviewing a special guest. Special because he was awarded the Ramon Magsaysay Award. Okay, and siya po ay mangingisda, fisherman. You know, traditionally, if you hear about awarding bodies, mga parek leadership awards, etc., it's often some CEO, some, may mga glamour people, mga intellectuals, etc., at hindi yung mga bihira, yung mga tao na ang paa nasa lupa. Okay? But later on today, we will be interviewing the Filipino awardee of the Ramon Magsaysay Award. Kasi alam po, yung Ramon Magsaysay Award, para yung Nobel Peace Prize here in our part of the world, in Southeast Asia. So we will talk to him. But before we do that, let's go to our first guest, who is a regular here on Agenda. Now, the first topic for today is not COVID-related, but COVID-affected. It is about hybrid work, meaning if you are an employee, you run a business, or you are a part of a company or organization, we have reached the point where sabi nung iba 50-50, sa others it's 70-30, but one way or another, a form where part of the time you work at home and part of the time you work in the office or in the factory or in the business setting. And based on the studies that I have been reading, hindi naman po ako academician, hindi ako mahilig masyado, pero nakababasa ko, and it would seem that more people are likely to insist on hybrid work. Lalo na sa developed countries, they don't want to go to the 8-hour salt mine kind of lifestyle or employment. Gusto na nila yung work from home. Now, the good thing about it is researchers so far, according to the research that have come out, is that the quality of work and output have not gone down. Kasi marami ang nag-aalala, if people work from home, chances are maglalakwat siya. Chances are they will be less disciplined, etc. And the productivity and output will be reduced. Pero it turns out it has not, according to CEOs interviewed. The problem is many people have noticed that instead of having a work-life balance, meaning nasa bahay ka, so you spend more time with your children, with your wife, you are able to do your work, but at the same time have a life. Yun yung work-life balance. Hindi raw nangyayari. People still dive into their jobs. People still stick themselves in front of their computers. They simply relocated, but they did not transform in their mindset as far as work-life balance is concerned. So let's go to our first interview. He is the Vice President for Human Resources of Semirara Mining Power and Corporation. He is he has been on agenda before, Mr. Jojo Tandoc. Jojo, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Cito. Welcome. Good morning to all
Okay,
listeners.
I think you've heard my intro. You've read some of the stuff the team agenda must have sent you. What is the experience of your company or your associates as far as the hybrid kind of work is concerned? Well, A, ginagawa ba ninyo dito? B, uh, is it showing the same results that I quoted?
Well, just to put into perspective, Cito, most organizations right now are doing work from home because of the pandemic. Alam naman natin, there's a psychological safety issue given the situation of pandemic. Now, people in my organization as well, we're doing a 50-50, a hybrid. Kasi nga po, hindi pwedeng buo yung mga manggagawa na pumasok sa opisina because of the situation. So the question right now is, are people productive? A lot of organizations are recalibrating or reinventing their processes. And there are three things that I wanted to emphasize in terms of the advantages of work from home, Cito. Number one is remote. Of course, it's a remote working, and that people has no need to go to commute. They have the liberty to customize their work setup, and that of course they have a high autonomy and less office interruptions kapag nasa office sila, kapag nasa bahay sila. Kaya maraming nagugustuhan yung work from home setup, and that because of the mindset that they need to produce output, tumataas yung productivity sito, tumataas yung productivity ng mga tao dahil they work more than their regular 8-hour job. And second, relaxing, Sito. Relaxing ang pagiging work from home.
Not,
Of course,
not according to some people I talk to. Parang, sabi nung ilang asawa dyan, kung pwede ko lang paluin ng kaldero itong mister ko eh. Puro computer na hinayakap ako, hindi.
tama ka dyan, Sito. Actually, yun yung gusto ko ipunto later on sa disadvantages of work from home. Kasi,
Okay.
kasi nga, kung tutuusin, relax, meaning home environment kasi pag nasa work from home kasi ito. You know, you have a comfy feeling that you're staying at home and that you have the liberty to do things based on your time frame. And that, of course, you can work at your favorite spot at home. Of course, the third point is reinvention, Sito. Kapag work from home, employees have to recalibrate the processes. Yung performance management, yung kanilang repurposing of their budgets, yung kanilang workspace, kailangan mabawasan na renta.
So does that mean, Jojo, that you have to redefine the job description?
Yes, Sito. We have to do that. We have to repurpose the roles and job descriptions. At we have to institute technology to measure yung kanilang productivity. And we've been doing that. I think most organizations are doing that. Even for call centers, Sito. They've repurposed their processes and that they intensified their technologies for tracking metrics of the people who are working from home.
Yeah,
However,
but
there are
you know, so
yes,
sorry, Jojo, no? But like call centers have long established metrics. Meaning, pag may tumawag sa call center, nakalag yun. When the call was made, who took the call, how long the call was, and what was the outcome of the call. And then there is a secondary filter or check wherein the caller is sent a message, were you satisfied by the service
by
provided
the service
to you, blah,
provider.
blah, blah. Pati nga yung mga technician ng PLDT, pag pupunta, syempre, or mga ibang telco, hindi ba, ganun din. But are you saying that across the board, employees and company owners will have to do the same thing? Kasi parang ang feeling ko, goals lang eh, di ba? O sige, ayan, siguraduhin mo magawa yan within so many days. What sort of metrics are you talking about?
Uh, Kasi sito, hindi pare-parehas yung organization. So,
Mm.
there are traditional organizations as well. Unlike BPOs, they have established metrics. But in traditional organizations, like in our case, hindi naman lahat pwedeng i-metric lahat eh. Ibig sabihin, we have to track the tasking of the employees on how they do their work. And we're using a particular system on that matter na every time na may gagawin sila trabaho, nilalog in nila yon on a particular system. But this is not manual because we have to make sure that it's also very convenient to the employees to do that so. But I have to point out, Sito, that not all organizations have to do work from home. Uh, like power plants or yung mga critical establishments, power plants, electricity, distributions, hospitals,
Utilities and
utilities, yes.
health services. Okay.
Yes, they don't have to do work from home. It cannot be done because they should be at their
Obviously.
power plants. They should be doing their role in order to assist the entire country for what they are purposely doing so. So, pero Sito, tingnan natin ang perspective ng disadvantages of work from home. Number one, you mentioned kanina yung issue of work-life balance. Nawawala kasi yung privacy ng mga tao at yung kanilang because we enjoyed yung bahay natin bilang relaxing environment. We enjoyed our house as our privacy. Pero because of the work from home setup, nawala na ito. And it's hard to distinguish anymore personal and professional life because you're doing work at home. Pangalawa, yung concern for mental health, sabi mo kanina Sito, yung mga taong stress.
Mm.
At dahil sa stress nila sa work at nasa bahay lang sila, nagiging irritable sila sa mga kasama nila sa bahay. And this is where they get into trouble with their husband, they get into trouble with their children. This is one of the issues, concern for mental health.
Pinag-aawayan yung yung internet signal.
Totoo
Kasi
yan.
katulad ngayong umaga, ang daming galit sa akin kasi nakasolo yung linya sa aking studio. Walang pwedeng gumamit.
Oo, kasi may hina ang signal. Lalo na pag marami kang anak na doing school work. Siyempre, hindi mo pwedeng pigilan yan kasi may oras din yung kanilang school time. At nakipag-agawan ka sa kanilang signal, sa bandwidth. Pangalawa, Sito, na disadvantage siguro ng work from home setup ay yung connectivity and collaboration sa mga coworkers. Nawawala na yung relationship with their coworkers at yung ginagawa ng mga organization in building team spirit, it cannot be done during these days. Hirap siya, Sito. Hirap na hirap. Kasi paano mo gagawin yon? Yung tao mo andon sa bahay.
Let's sum it up, no? Kasi syempre, based on requirements, we already can figure out who should work from home and who should not work from home. But assuming you've already established that, what are the human resource experts such as you seeing or recommending to the business sector? Should we encourage this? Kasi based on what I read, mukhang mahihirapan na ang mga corporations to convince people to go back to the normal 8 hours. Yung bang parang, hey, this is good and we want to stay with it. In fact, I saw another article where people got to the point na if I can't work from home, majority of the time, I look for a job that will allow me to work from home.
Agree, Sito. Even in our organization, we're experiencing that. We have some employees whom we have recently hired and they have to resign because they prefer a work from home setup. A full-time work from home setup. At medyo mahirap yon in our organization because we are in the power sector. So we have to recalibrate our processes and systems, Sito. And as an HR practitioner, I have to recommend to the owners of the companies and to the heads of organizations to take a look very closely in their processes.
Yeah,
And to
Jojo,
identify,
sorry, Joe, no, but no one seems to have addressed two issues here. That in terms of operational expense, work from home seems to be a cheaper alternative for business owners. And second, work from home is no longer what most people assume. It's like a luxury or parang luho. Work from home, many people are choosing to do that because they don't want to leave the safety of their space. Kumbaga, papapasukin mo ko araw and I'll quote one young talent na she's an artist. I think yung mga Japanese
Okay.
anime, they get
Yeah.
paid well, they're happy doing their job, but when their boss said, I'm going to require you to start going back to office, that person said, hahanap na lang ako ibang trabaho, sir. Kasi ayoko mamatay sa COVID while I'm commuting from our house to the office.
Tama si ito kasi psychological safety nga issue ngayon eh. If you require people going to work, they would think twice because of the situation. Especially with the Delta variant. Sabi nga sa'yo, ang daming mga resignations ngayon who prefer work from home. But in that perspective, Sito, yung organization has to take a look. Baka naman may mga tao o may mga roles sa kumpanya na pwede namang mag full-time work from home setup.
Mhm.
May mga roles din sa organization na pwede namang mix. It's a blended approach. 3 days work from work tapos 2 days work from home. Usually mga organization ngayon Sito ganun ang ginagawa. It's a blended approach.
What about, Jojo, pasensya ka na, no? I have long been an advocate and anti-work on Saturday advocate, no? Kasi, parang noong ko pa sinasabi yan, kalukuhan yung half-day work on Saturdays. Maraming tao na and kumpanya nagsasayang lang ng resources, nagchichismisan, nag-iintay lang ng lunch, etc. Have the companies started, well, I don't know, I haven't been in a company for ages eh. So alam mo ko, magsasaka na lang ako eh, magmamanok, no? Tinigil na ba yan? Hindi na ba, uso pa rin ba yan yung working on Saturdays?
Honestly, Sito, may mga kumpanya pa na ganun yung practice, especially in the construction industry. Kasi pag tinignan natin yung construction industry, they've been working 7 days a week. Usually 6 days a week. Tapos, kapag may hinahabol silang oras, they have to work 7 days a week, even at night time. So, may mga kumpanya pa rin that are working every Saturday, Sito, unfortunately. Pero, half day sila on Saturdays. And looking at it, was it productive? For some, yes, because they have a hard metrics to measure it. For some organizations, they still have to take a closer look into it kasi yung ibang organizations, alam naman natin, yung mga empleyado nabibigyan ng oras sometimes. And given this situation, and very challenging situation, ang importante lang ay yung mga HR practitioners to ensure that there is a clear and defined metrics to make sure that productivity is up even during Saturdays, Sito.
Okay, what about the HR executives? Are they being given a real voice now? Kasi alam mo, for the longest time, kayong mga nasa HR, parang ihanap mo nga ako nito, or okay, you do the job description, write up the contract, etc. Parang clerical eh. But now, many companies worldwide have come to realize that their prosperity and their failure begins with the ability of the HR to find the right people. Now, are companies listening to HR executives and organizations regarding this shift? Kasi honestly, Jojo, when I hear people talking about we have to go back to normal, I almost like feel like telling them, sige, mauna ka, mag-solo ka.
The pandemic fast-tracked the shift in paradigm, Sito. What do I mean by this? During the pandemic, HR was given a critical role in most organizations dahil sila yung nasa front line in making sure that the workers are actually producing their results and making sure that we have the right people in the organization. Given that perspective, ang mga organizations ngayon, Sito, mga owners, are listening to HR's advices, and they've been consulting HR into making people decisions. Kasi
Mm.
right now, maraming considerations about people. If you don't have the people in your organization, then the business will slowly fall down. Uh,
Is it still an employer's market, or is it beginning to be a balanced situation? When I say employer's market, dati yung kumpanya nagdidikta, gusto mong trabaho, hindi. Eh ngayon, meron kang yung mga empleyado, choosy na.
Tama ka doon, Sito. It's not anymore an employer's market, but the situation has balanced the current paradigm, the current situation. Organizationally, dati ang may option employer lang. Ngayon, hindi pwedeng employer lang, pati yung pati yung candidate na ni-interview mo may option na not to join your organization kung wala kang mga certain items, like for example, kung hindi ba kayo work from home, Sep, hindi na ako papasok, hindi na ako tutuloy sa aking application kahit may job offer na Sito. Hindi lang yon, yung convenience ba? Actually, this is a joke, but this is true. Yung mga ibang mga empleyado, kapag walang bidet yung kanilang restroom, okay, wala pala kayong bidet. Okay, hindi kayo papasok. Parang in the perspective of the employee, if you have these small things, ibig sabihin, you're taking care of your employees' needs.
Okay, for the sake of those who may not understand the French term, yung pong bidet, yun yung hose na panghugas ng puwet sa banyo or panghugas ng harapan, ano? But it's fair because if
Yeah.
you remember, that became a serious issue in Australia when one supervisor prevented a Filipino from going to the toilet with his tabo. And it became a labor issue that they
That
were
was true.
imposing cultural restrictions on a performing employee. So, well, I'm happy you answered my question. I think I'm going to have to invite you back, Jojo, but I think we
Yes.
cleared up a lot of things today regarding work from home. But also, I think it's important that employers realize it is no longer an employer's market ever since the reality of death from COVID established itself. People have begun to appreciate life, and employees choose life over work kasi aanhin mo yung work kung patay ka naman, di ba? Okay. Anyway,
Tama yan,
Jojo,
Sito.
thank you very much, and I promise I'm going to. Now that I figured it out, we'll invite you back because a lot of people have a lot of issues as far as employment and work from home is concerned. Thank you, Jojo.
Thank you so much, Sito, for the opportunity.
Okay, and hello to the people at Semirara. Thank you for sharing your Vice President for Human Resources with us. Malaking bagay po yun. Ano? We'll go for a quick break because it seems the team agenda kind of got a double home run because not only do we have the one Ramon Magsaysay awardee, we have two Ramon Magsaysay awardees, and we will be interviewing them. Please stay tuned because this is interesting. Yung isa po, fisherman, and the other one, I understand, is an American. I didn't even realize that they give awards to Americans kasi di ba it's supposed to be an Asian award. Tanungin natin, we'll find out. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, sorry about that because I'm just kind of I have like I have four literally four monitors to go through because of this sudden double home run of our team agenda, which got Ramon Magsaysay awardees for the program. As I mentioned earlier, we have a Filipino fisherman from Zamboanga, Sibugay, na among one of the five recipients of this Ramon Magsaysay Awardee, and he is ka Dodoy Roberto Ballon. And the second awardee that we will have for the show is Dr. Stephen Muncy, 64-year-old humanitarian worker who has been chosen for the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for his dedication to humanitarian work, refugee assistance, and peace building. Okay, Steven, talo ka. Kano ka, Tagalog tayo. Okay, now let me clarify that, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Monsi has lived in the Philippines and can understand Tagalog and speaks Tagalog. Okay, so anyway, guys, welcome ka, Dodoy. Magandang umaga sa'yo. Ako natutuwa. I'm happy you received the award because it shows that the Ramon Magsaysay Award is not an award for elitist but for people who are genuine and authentic, truly dedicated to their work. The same goes for you, Dr. Munsi. And I'll start with Kadodoy. Para sa mga viewers natin, ano ba yung ginagawa mo? Paano nangyari na napili ka?
Una sa lahat, magandang umaga sa lahat, sa buong Pilipinas at lalong-lalo na sa mga kasama nating mga mangingisda sa buong Zamboanga Sibugay at sa buong Pilipinas. Yun nga, nang marinig natin na we are one of the Ramon Magsaysay Foundation awardee, so parang hindi tayo makapaniwala. Ay ang ginagawa naman lang natin dito sa ang ginagawa namin dito as APGMC or Kapunungan sa Gagmay Mangingisda sa Concepcion ay yung mga pagtatanim ng mangroves, yung solid waste management, yung coastal cleanup, at saka pagtatag at paggawa ng mga hanap buhay namin na pakipakinabang na hindi nakasisira ng ating karagatan, at nag-organize at nag-educate tayo ng mga kasama nating mangingisda dito para alam nila ano yung mga dapat gawin na panatilihing malusog, masagana at malinis yung ating karagatan sa pamamagitan ng iba't ibang mga partners natin ng government, different line agencies, non-government organization and different institution na concerned doon sa coastal resource management. Yun lang po ang siguro kaya nga hangang-hanga ako dito sa Ramon Magsaysay Foundation na nakita nila tayo kahit malayo tayo doon sa kabias na tayo ay simple lamang mangingisda na ang layunin ay mapaganda ang ating kabuhayan at kasama na rin yung mga susunod nating mga henerasyon sa pamamagitan ng pag-alaga at panatilihing malusog, maganda at peaceful ang ating kapaligiran sa pamamagitan ng mangrove planting, implementation of sustainable livelihood and enterprise, and people empowerment into giving them skills and leadership trainings and awareness about what is the different kind of policy the government that we have in terms of coastal resource management.
Okay. Kadodoy,
Yan
big
po,
time
maraming
ka na.
salamat.
Kasi Inglesero ka na ngayon. Pero nung nag-umpisa ka in 1986, I understand, you had 30 fishermen to start planting or replanting mangrove, and it became so hard, sobrang hirap, na nawala yung mga membro mo, na tatlo na lang kayong natira. And yet, through the years, you persisted and you replanted 50 hectares. At ngayon, mukhang ano yung tinatarget ninyo? Ilang libong hektarya ang tinatarget ninyo?
12,000 hectares of mangroves ang target namin sa buong Zamboanga Sibugay.
Wow. Okay. Now let me go to Dr. Munsi here. Dr. Munsi, good morning. It's not every day I get to interview someone who works with refugees, who does humanitarian assistance, but you're living in the Philippines and apparently traveling a lot. What exactly have you been up to, and what's the Philippine connection?
Well, good morning, Cito and Dodoy. Good to see all of you, and thank you for this time together. You know, the Philippines has a wonderful, wonderful history of assisting refugees from various parts of the world. So in 1980, a refugee camp was opened in Bataan. I came as a volunteer, and have now spent 40 years doing this kind of work with refugees in Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay. Well, the Bataan Refugee Center is very familiar with me because I had a friend who worked there, even contracted malaria down there, and I said, "What? Why are you risking for the Vietnamese?" He said, "Cito, because no one else will." So I respect that kind of work, and now we are seeing. We're hearing talks about Afghan refugees going all over the world. So, how were you? How did you get in the radar of the Ramon Magsaysay group? I mean, you must have done something distinct.
Well, I think it's more correct to say we, not me. I belong to a group of people who have given their lives to helping refugees and displaced persons in this part of the world. And through them and myself, we've tried to make a difference in the lives of people who have lost their homes, their countries, their freedoms, and in some cases, even their history by fleeing and going to another country. And Cito, I must also say that there are many Filipino humanitarians all over the world working with refugees. As you mentioned, we have some working with Afghans in Afghanistan. We have people from the Philippines and the Sudan, Yemen, all over the world. And many of them go back to those early days in the refugee camp in Bataan, to which you referred.
Okay, Ka Dodoy, ano ang pinakamalaking pagsubok sa iyo, hamon sa inyo? What is the greatest challenge to you in promoting coastal management, mangrove replanting? Kasi ako tumira ako sa Palawan over a period of 7 years. And ang tao doon, puputulin namin yung bakawan kasi kailangan namin ng panggawa ng bahay, panggatong, panguling, etc. Pero paano mo nagawang magpa-replant ng 500 hectares?
Yan po. Yan po, isang malaking pagsubok nga bago namin nagawa yon na to complete the 500 hectares of mangrove shears in our coastal of Kabasalan. So many kind of challenges and obstacle that we faced before. Tulad ng halimbawa, mismo ang aming mga kasama na mga community, sila yung namumutol after lumalaki na yung mga mangroves. Sila din yung mga gumagawa ng mga illegal fishing activities in the ground, in our coastal fishing ground. So, at kami yung mga kasamahan o mga isda na mga nagtatanong, nagsasabi sa kanila, so sinasabihan kami, ay mga baliw kayo, ang dami-daming paano mabubuhay ng mga mangroves doon, at ano ang maano niyan, ano ang magagawa niyan sa atin. At ang pinakamalaki pa doon ay challenges na yung iba't ibang barangay ay dahil marami ng klase-klase ng mga halamang dagat at malawak na yung ating mga mangroves. So dito na sila ngayon nagkukumpulan at pinuputol nila yung ating mangroves. So yan ang problema at minsan pa yung mga operators ng mga malalaking palaisdaan or yung mga lalaking mga fishing vessels or mga commercials ay nasa gobyerno pa noon at mga impluwensyang tao. Yan ang pinaka mahirap namin kinalaban noon na kami ay buti in the help of our as a whole community ay pag naghuli kami sa kanila at nagpunta kami at sabihan sila, buong barangay, buong association, nasa 20 household to 300 household, yung kalaban nila. So parang doon natakot sila. At ang ginawa namin doon sa mga other barangay community, to stop their illegal activities in our area. So we go to their respective barangay through the help of the LGU and barangay council to organize them and educate them what is happening if we are continue to do illegal fishing and illegal cutting of mangroves. So we have not a future anymore, especially our children, if we are to continue this kind of illegal activities. No, and as today, the fisherfolk organization or the KJMC requiring to those member want to become a members of our association, their requirements is not a money or several yung pira na hiningi natin as a membership, but we have, kung gusto nila magiging membro, they want to be a member of our association, they have to first plant mangroves, 100 to 500 seedlings of mangroves. Kung mabubuhay na yon, so magiging membro na sila ng aming mga association at federation. Pag hindi nabuhay yung mangroves na itananim nila, ay hindi sila magiging membro. Yun po ang aming ginagawa ngayon.
Okay, Dodoy, we're showing, we were showing a video nung nangyayari sa lugar mo. But ano ang naging benefit? Kasi maraming tao hindi nila naintindihan yung koneksyon ng mangrove, yung bakawan na yan, sa mga taguan ng isda, dumadami ang isda. Ano yung comparison mo? Bago kayo nag-umpisa, ano ang volume of catch hanggang at gaano katagal bago nyo makuha yon compared sa ngayon?
Yes, before nung mga dekada 60 hanggang 70s hanggang kalagitnaan ng 80s, ay napakarami talagang isda sa lugar dahil nakita namin noon intact pa yung mga mangroves namin at wala pang mga illegal activities. Then after how many years papunta ng 90s hanggang 2000, naubos na yung isda na dati ay 1 oras o 2 oras lang kami mangingisda. Makahuli na kami ng mga 10 to 20 kilos. So mahirapan na nga kami kung saan namin ibenta. So after that, dahil sa mga illegal at wala na yung mangroves, so isang araw o 7 to 8 hours namin na pangingisda, halos makahuli na kami ng 2 hanggang 3 kilo, minsan pang ulam na lang. But after na ibalik ulit namin itong stop to illegal activities, dumami ulit yung mangroves. So after, naibalik pa unti-unti from 2 kilos hanggang 7 kilos after 1 to 2 hours of fishing efforts in the area. Then, yung mga walang nakasagwan noon, ay halos dibangkang dimotor na ngayon, yung mga hindi kayang magpaaral na kanilang anak, so kaya nilang paaralin at yung mga barong-barong namin noon, so ngayon, barong-barong pa rin, pero may mga appliances na po sa loob. Yun po ang nangyayari ngayon na hindi na masyadong mahirap, masyado ang buhay. Hindi naman kami mayaman, pero hindi naman kami napakahirap tulad ng dati, halos hindi kain isang araw. At tuwing may mga bagyo dito, ay hindi na kami tinatamaan at nasisira.
Okay, time out. Nakabarong-barong ka pero naka-Cignal TV ka, naka-internet ka, lahat. Social. Okay, let's go to Dr. Munsi. Dr. Munsi, the issue of migration of refugee is now a global headache, and for many countries, especially in the developed countries, a lot of leaders just don't want to touch it. They're saying, look, we have enough problems with COVID-19. We don't want to welcome refugees. We don't want to welcome all of this. What is that your biggest challenge now, or are there even bigger challenges confronting people like you and your group?
Thank you, Cito. That's a good question. You know, some people would say refugees or displaced persons are a headache, but many of us would say refugees or displaced persons can in fact be a blessing. If you look all around the world, many people who have migrated under extremely difficult circumstances have ended up in another country and helped make that country stronger, richer, more talented, more capable. And I think I could give so many examples of that, but in many parts of the world, newly arrived refugees or people who have been displaced and have been able to return home have been able to rebuild their societies and make them even better than they were before.
So you're saying that refugees don't just, go over, find shelter, and then and education and health. I mean, because the thinking is, if we allow refugees in, they're going to compete against us. That was the mentality in Texas against the Vietnamese. That's now the mentality in New York, etc. Even in Germany regarding Muslim refugees. You're saying that many of these refugees actually go back to their home countries?
No, I didn't say that. I said displaced persons are able to go back to their own community. Let me just distinguish a
Oh,
bit
okay.
refugees, displaced persons. So refugees have fled their country of origin because of a well-founded fear of persecution. When we talk about displaced persons, they maybe have fled persecution, but often it's armed conflict or disaster, and they remain within their own national borders. Marawi is a great example of people who were displaced by armed conflict. They're coming back, they're rebuilding the city. Marawi is going to be wonderful, beautiful, very, very inspiring in a few years after the horrific events of 2017. Many people suffered, but many people are going back and going to rebuild Marawi.
Okay, welcome back again to the program agenda. Sorry for that power interruption, courtesy of the Batangas Electric Cooperative 2, who unceremoniously seem to have cut the power. Let's go back to our guest, Dodoy and Dr. Stephen Mansi. Dr. Stephen, you were about to share the Marawi example regarding displaced individuals and your humanitarian work.
Well, I was just saying that the people of Marawi who went through a very, very difficult 2017, many of whom remain displaced, are going to go back and rebuild Marawi. In the case of refugees, many of them will never be able to go home because of the situation in their countries. So they, if they're in that situation, have no choice but to start a new life in their new host country.
Okay, but what exactly have you or your or group or your your team been doing in terms of services or work for these communities?
Great, good questions. Again, I think a lot of our work has been on peace building, helping different people come together and work towards the same objective. We spend a lot of time in livelihood assistance to help people rebuild their lives from a socioeconomic perspective. Education, including the alternative learning system for Filipinos, has been very, very helpful. And for refugees from other countries, it's language learning. In addition, we do a lot in the area of water and sanitation and hygiene, as well as, most importantly, I would say, psychosocial support. Because when you are displaced, when you've lost everything, when you've lost your support structure, you need somebody to listen, to care, to give you an encouraging word from time to time.
Okay, now we're basically down to our last few minutes. So, Dodoy, siguro bigyan kita, I give you the chance to send a message, siguro to Ramon Magsaysay, how it helps you, and also to the fishermen. No? Last 2 minutes na tayo, ayokong ma-penalty. Baka ako magbigay sa inyo ng award. Dodoy, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay pa. Magandang umaga lahat, ulit sa lahat. Ang mensahe po natin sa ating mga kasamaan, una-una pala pasalamat ko sa Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation sa pagpili natin sa ganito kalaki at taas na karangalan at mas lalo pa makilala ang aming organisasyon at ginagawa dito sa Zamboanga Sibugay at sa aming grupo. At sa mga ating mga kasama mga mangingisda, sana po ay magkaisa tayo, tulungan natin yung ating mga gobyerno, tulungan natin ang ahensya, pakipag-partner tayo sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno para gawin yung tama sa Coastal Resource Management Program at panatilihin nating malinis at mayaman ang ating karagatan sa pamamagitan ng ating pagtutulungan sa pagprotekta, sa pagmamanage at sa pagkakaisa sa bayadan spirit. Paano tayo mabuhay habang tayo ay nasa dalampasigan. Yan po, maraming salamat and good morning Cito and good morning Steven, to all of us and to everybody.
Okay. Hayaan mo, Dodoy, isang araw, one day, isang araw, pupuntahan kita dyan at tayo ay mamingwit o kaya mamana ng masamaral at ng mga magandang isda. Anyway, going to Dr. Stephen Mansi. Stephen, please share your thoughts with our viewers and perhaps your gratitude to the Ramon Magsaysay Foundation.
Yes, well, let me begin with saying thank you to the Ramon Magsaysay Awards Foundation. Cito, let me also note that there are 3 other laureates, a vaccine scientist from Bangladesh, a micro-enterprise pioneer from Pakistan, and a wonderful investigative journalism organization in Indonesia. I think what I would like to leave you and our audience with, including Dodoy, who's done such wonderful work, is the following. Make your heart a home for others. Make your heart a home for others. Thank you, Cito and Dodoy.
Okay, congratulations, Dodoy, Dr. Stephen Mansi. Maraming salamat for your time this morning, and we are honored to be able to help you share your accomplishments and your sacrifices as well. God bless both of you. Okay. That's Dodoy Ballon and Dr. Stephen Muncy, Ramon Magsaysay Foundation awardees. And I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us today. Have a happy weekend. God bless all of you.